Welcome to Spiritual Sauce, the podcast where we talk to spirit and invite you to join the conversation. We are your
Yes.
hosts,
Valerie Medina.
and Christine Boschen. This is a reaction video to a session in which Christine channels and Valerie asks questions. You can find the original recording and associated reaction videos in the playlist Christine's First Channeling Session.
In this episode, Christine channels and I ask questions, and we discuss, or the guides discuss, how can we balance material pursuits with spiritual growth and well-being? What actions can communities and individuals take towards healing of the planet? And
This is my favorite one, actually. We asked a question and they said, yeah, we're not going to answer that.
yes, find out what question that was
And why they didn't want to answer it.
and why they didn't want to answer it. Yeah.
How can we balance material pursuits with spiritual growth and well-being?
Hello, everybody. Here we are, Spiritual Sauce reaction video number 3. Valerie Medina, Christine Boschen. I don't even know if we've bothered to introduce ourselves in most of the videos that we're shooting.
Not every time, I don't think.
Yeah, that's who we are. So we just in the last week were reacting to, can you provide some insights onto the concept of karma? And we're now going to move into, can you tell us a little bit on how we can balance material pursuits with spiritual growth and well-being? So shall we have a listen?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
So can you tell us a little bit on how we can balance material pursuits with spiritual growth and well-being?
Well, again, it is really about you making some kind of distinction between the two that is where you go astray. And that is not your fault, my dear friend. It is actually that you are tapping into a concept in the collective that is ready to shift and is shifting. And so you are grabbing onto this taste bud that is at the tasting edge of things. And so it is like humanity is sending out their tongue, much as you could imagine a lizard would. The lizard goes, exploration.
I was thinking that's what she looks like.
Exploration. Exploration. And you're tasting and you're saying,
Can I just wait?
a different
What?
experience from
Just a
You want to stop?
this
yeah, like
artificial
stop. Really,
separation
just
that I
stop.
experienced from.
Stop, Christine, stop.
Like a
Oh my
lizard.
God.
Well, have you got to the part where you see the lizard tongue? Take a little bit of
It's
salt
like,
and a little bit of bitter.
I am glad that I don't embarrass very easily because it's hard to watch. Like, it's hard. Like, they're so positive. Like the whole being worried about being too goofy just doesn't exist in guide world,
No,
right?
no, that's what's so funny. But I don't I think that the way our guides speak through us, that people will get it. The right people will get it. The
Well,
people that are ready to hear it, and they'll take it in just the way it is.
I mean, it was me channeling, and I'm still kind of like, oh, I have to take a moment to take this in. So, because it's just so goofy, but but if we're going to talk about what they're talking about, right? They're saying
Okay.
like on the edge of there's something about what did they say? Let's go back. Something about being on the growing edge of it. Did you catch that part? Kind of like reality is a growing edge. Like it's not a static thing, and we're out there exploring this growing edge and tasting with our lizard tongue, which there's been a lot about dragons lately. Like this is the year of the dragon, and so I was
Right.
thinking, like at first in seeing that, I was thinking that's like a dragon tongue, but of course dragons and lizards are connected connected beings. But what was she saying?
Tell us
Scaly
a
skin.
little bit on how we can balance material pursuits with spiritual growth and well-being.
Well, again, it is really about you making some kind of distinction between the two that is where you go astray. And that is not your fault, my dear friend. It is actually that you are tapping into a concept in the collective that is ready to shift and is shifting. And so you are grabbing onto this taste bud that is at the tasting edge of things. And
The tasting edge of things. A taste bud at the tasting edge of things. So like stretching out, like we're stretching out past where we are right now.
Right.
And that's somehow
For new experiences,
yeah.
right?
And so going back to your original question, can you tell us a little bit about how we can balance material pursuits with spiritual growth and well-being? And they're saying it's one and the same thing. So you're
Exactly.
tasting and experiencing and you're exploring too, right? Because if you're reaching out, you're not staying static where you are. You're not staying safe. You're reaching out into the world to taste and take in. And that's a physical, like to reach is a physical action, right? It's not to read, it's not to think, it's not to meditate, it's a physical action they're
It's
suggesting.
to activate. Yes. Yeah. You are activated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
In
so it's
movement,
in movement and in taste is another way of being,
experiencing the
yeah.
world.
Hmm.
so it is like humanity is sending out their tongue, much as you could imagine a lizard would. The lizard goes, exploration,
Mm-hmm.
exploration,
It
exploration.
comes
And you're
back in,
tasting and you're saying,
right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
could I taste a different experience from this artificial separation that I've made between the spiritual pursuits and the physical pursuits?
Hmm.
Could I taste them being maybe both okay? And once I tell myself that they're both okay, what is it that I want to experience today? And
A cheeseburger. I want to experience a cheeseburger today. Like she asked. Is that, you know what I mean? It's like it's okay to have cheeseburgers.
Uh, I think this is my favorite question and answer.
Yeah?
Yeah. Um, because I think that the guides are telling us that they're to look at it, they're telling us to change our perspective
Hmm.
about what is material and what is spiritual,
Hmm.
and that exploration is a way to learn how to combine the two experiences, put them together. It's just all about perspective.
Hmm.
And I mean, I hear that over and over again. I've heard that over and over again throughout this whole channel, and so I think for me, this answer is my favorite.
Really?
The most, yeah,
Lizard tongue and all?
even over James Brown. Yeah.
Even over James Brown. Okay. All right. Well, let's keep listening to the lizard tongue lady or dragon. You know, one of my guides is a dragon, so it could be this is who's coming through.
Mm-hmm.
what is it that I want to experience today? And how is it that my breath and my embodiment is the same thing as my spiritual beingness, and that I am a spirit having a physical experience in form, and that I will be here for a short period of time or maybe a long, because time is really deep and eternal all at the same time that it is fleeting and gone in an instant. May I savor, what is the verb, Valerie, that Christine is feeling? Because to say gozar or gozar feels different than savor. And so
How does it feel different than savor?
A gozar.
Yeah.
A
How does,
gozar means a gozar means doesn't it mean fun?
yeah, like to enjoy oneself, right?
Enjoy. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It yeah. I always took it as, to have fun, to be fun, to be. I
Interesting.
yeah.
So like to be fun and to have fun and
I
to
guess it's
be.
not to be. It's not. I guess it's not to be, because to be is a year. So, but a gozar. Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Enjoy.
She brought in a Spanish
And
word.
and so it's like, to speak to be human speaking different languages, we get like yet another perspective, right? So if you
Mm-hmm.
take that same
Mm-hmm.
concept and translated it into 10, 20, 30 different languages, you would
Mm-hmm.
get a different, it would come through your body in a different way. It would feel different on your tongue and in your throat
Mm-hmm.
and your chest. It would sound different. It would have different contexts. And so it's like saying we can continue to explore. There's different ways of like English is just one limited window, right?
Mm-hmm.
Into reality.
Very limited.
Yeah, it's a
And the
good message.
guides have to, in order to channel through you, they have to figure out how to communicate to us in our language.
Yeah, you were
Because
saying that the last time.
yeah,
Yeah.
they use light language, right? So it's a more of a knowing. And so they have to really come down to us to be able to talk to us this way. So I think it's pretty magnificent.
I was listening to a Joe Rogan interview with Elon Musk recently, and they were talking about how humans will be evolving soon to not actually needing to talk. And Joe Rogan was disturbed and fascinated at the same time, and Elon Musk was like really more matter of fact about it. But he described it like, like a computer person would, right? Where you
Yeah.
compress and then decompress. Like you have, like, reality is this thing up here, but you compress it to get it into English or into human language, and then you have to decompress it to get it back up to the brain. And that if you don't have to do that language thing, that you can just go with the full magnificence of the full thought. Anyhow, that is what
Mm.
guides are doing. Like those are my words to paraphrase Elon Musk.
And is Elon Musk actually practicing this? Does he have people that he's telepathy people that he's practicing with?
I don't know. They were talking
That's
about
interesting.
AI and the way that that's,
Hmm.
and then like it's like computer chips that can be embedded in your head to, you know, like so people can be, it's,
Oh, I don't
yeah,
know
and
about that.
yeah, right. At any rate.
Hmm.
Savor. And so can I savor and gozar the feeling and the exploration of these different ways of being here, feeling the weight of our bodies
Mm.
here, and the spark of life within our bodies through our breath and our soul being embodied. It is a miracle. It is a constant, ever evolving miracle.
Mm.
So, what actions can individuals and communities take to contribute to the healing of the planet?
So moving on into a new question.
What actions can communities and individuals take towards the healing of the planet?
Yeah.
Oh, you are. Oh, you are. We're so proud of you. We're watching the planet Earth shake and shift and heal all over the place. There are words that are coming up into popularity in the collective, such as trauma. Just the fact that trauma is now a word that gets play
Mm.
is an
Yeah. Yeah.
indication of your attention to it and thereby your healing of it, because where your attention goes, your evolution begins. You're doing it. We could
Another
talk more on
magic
this, but
answer.
Right? So
It's
encouraging,
like,
so
wow.
reassuring.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
when we're here, we don't have that, well, bird's eye perspective, so to speak, to
No,
see
no.
the shifts
So,
and the changes.
so loving. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, somebody sees us, sees our efforts.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. And is delighted with them. It's not like,
Right.
they're not like we're so much better than you. You'll never be as good as us. They're like, you're,
Yeah.
doing
You guys are
great.
doing good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what we really need to say, or Christina's listening and hearing that what we really need to say at this moment is a very simple message of encouragement.
Exactly.
That to heal is your birthright, to be well is your birthright. Do you remember? You may, some of you will, because it is a toy that had its moment in time, probably
Yeah.
in the 1970s. There was a doll. It was a blow up doll that had sand in the base, and you would knock it over, boom, and
Oh,
it would
yeah.
bounce right
With a
back up.
clown.
Boom,
You
yes, it
punch
was a
it.
clown. Exactly, exactly. And you are this, not that. You're not plastic with sand at your feet and filled with hot air or cold air or whatever that expression might be. But
But we
you
fall
are,
down and get up.
yes, but really the idea is that you have this innate understanding of what it means to be healed. This is you.
Like, I love that's so true, right? Like, even if you just
Yes.
get a wound on your, like, you get a cut on your arm or something, your body knows how to stitch that up, you
And
know?
yeah, yeah. And you almost take it for granted, until you have a health issue where you're not healing, you
Yeah,
take for granted that you fall down, you scrape your knee, you rub it off. Sometimes you
right.
put water on
Scabs
it, sometimes
over,
you don't.
right?
It scabs over and you know it's going to heal. Yeah, you
Yeah.
take that for granted.
We do, but I think it's true that emotionally we also still have that innate understanding of like the difference between being in a state of wellness and not being in a state of wellness, right? Like we
Hmm.
inherently know the difference between those two, and the fact that we know the difference means we can find our way. Even if we don't necessarily know like all the steps to get there, we can say, do I feel well right now? Yes or no, right? And we can point ourselves in a direction of increased wellness. And sometimes not necessarily physically, because as we all know, we all are mortal beings, right?
Yeah, yeah, we have limitations.
But emotionally and spiritually, we can point ourselves in that direction.
And I love the way they say, hey, this is what you're here for. You're here to heal.
Yeah, it's your
It's like,
birthright, it's your
huh,
hearthright.
yeah,
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 you own this. This
right.
is undeniably part of who you are.
This is you.
Mm,
All pathways lead back to you. There's no wrong pathway. There is no wrong amount of time. There is no brokenness about you or the planet or yourselves or each other or any of it because all pathways are the healing.
that's really encouraging, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it gets back to
Mm-hmm.
life purpose. They were saying the same thing with life purpose. Like there's no wrong
Mm-hmm.
river to jump into, the river of life.
Right, right. And there's no wrong path, there's no wrong decision. Each each path, each decision leads you down a road where you will learn a lesson. Well, you will have outcome. There's no stagnation really.
And there's no need to hurry through it. So we tend to think we need to go
Yeah,
faster, and we don't.
yeah.
Sometimes fast is the pace that is in alignment with who we are and where we are, but sometimes it's not.
Well, sometimes you go fast and then you spend a lot of time healing from that swiftness. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
then you're recovering from that, you know,
there's a
that
balance there.
propelling forward. Yeah, yeah, there's always a balance. Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes playing catch up. Yeah,
So the sprinter would need a long break after running the
yeah,
sprint.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to answer that, say the guides. Pathway are the healed pathway. And yes, you could say, oh, but people die. Yeah, well, whatever.
They don't seem to care about that very much.
No, because there is no such thing.
Yeah.
People don't really, their physical body dies, but yeah, well, whatever, you actually live on. Your
Yeah.
spirit lives on.
So I like that they're just dismissive when it's not even worth bothering,
Uh-huh, uh-huh. What
entertaining
was it?
us.
What was it that they refused to answer early on in the video? Oh, we're not even going to talk about that.
No?
Was it re What was it? I can't remember what it was. They decided they just didn't want to talk about it. Ah, nah.
Oh,
It
yeah,
wasn't it
yeah. We should
something
go back
about
to that.
wasn't it
Was
about reincarnation or something? Or
We'll go back to
oh,
it. We'll
what
find
happens
that.
when we die?
What
It
happened?
was
That
what
was
happens when
exactly
we
the
die.
same. What happens when we die? Because
Yeah.
they will
It's like,
they yeah,
we're not here to talk about that. You
yeah,
can look
yeah.
that one up.
Yeah, right. And I have noticed that that's really common with high level guides. Like it's when you train yourself as a channel, as you and I have, to go to higher realms, to beings of light. They don't just give you lip service. They don't just tell you what you want to hear, and they don't answer every question. They only answer questions that are in support of your higher good, and they won't take your lessons away from you. So
Right.
apparently, figuring out what happens when we die is a lesson that we need to all go through, and they're not going to take it away from us. It's like,
That is yeah, yeah. Because a one of the major things that human beings kind of have when we lose, when we separate from the other side and we experience separateness, is we have a fear of death.
Right.
So
Right.
I think part of our lessons as a human being is to understand that we are eternal beings, and then and that's a major life, not a major life lesson, but it's definitely there, because it seems that you have to know that in order to go forward and start exploring more things. Uh, uh, some things about reincarnation, some things about lives in between lives. And then you start to, well, what are the lessons I'm supposed to learn? Well, what did my soul want me to learn? So, then you start asking all the questions after that. And I mean, I can say that my spiritual journey started with exploration of death, because my mother was very ill and I knew she didn't have a lot of time. And well, what happens when you die? Well, what's going to happen? Uh, I guess I felt that I needed to talk to her about it. I don't know why. Her and I talked about everything.
Thank you for joining us. We're glad you're here, and we hope you stick around.
Like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, and react. Suggest other topics and join the conversation.
Yeah.